Hi, everyone. Um, for those of you who are not aware, I am Sonata. I am the co-founder of Counselor Support and Success Initiative. And we've had a lot of people just asking basic questions about the bell curve. So I just kind of decided to do a little video on it. So definitely going to touch base on what exactly it is we do because whereas a lot of you are in the group, you're still a little confused. So feel free to pause, but by and large, we are just a group of people who are studying for the NCE or CPCE, and we get together on Zoom sessions every day and we study. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Outside of that, there's lots of great resources. Make sure you go to the guides tab to access those. And then also we partner with professional NCE prep coaches to do like different domains. So that's pretty much it. That's what we do. Um, As far as joining, you guys are here, but don't be stingy. Go ahead and let your friends, your cohorts, and anyone who's studying for the NCE know. You can use that QR code in order to access it. You can just, send that. There's just that one-time $8 community fee to join. And you can send that via Cash App or Venmo, and it's CSSI or CSS initiative for either. All right, what you guys are here for. Alrighty, so the bell curve. So on a normal distribution, that is when it has this nice little bell situation going on. All of the measures of central tendency line up right in the middle, the mean, median, and mode. Okay, and before we get too deep, I need to let you know, again, I am studying for this. I just have a decent grasp on it. I ain't a professional research person. I just know it enough to explain it. So I'm gonna give you the nitty gritty. All right, so the mean median mode, they are all in the middle. The mean meaning average, the median meaning the middle part of the scores, like where things occurred the most, and then mode meaning the score that is seen the most, the most repeated score. All right, something that you're gonna have to just commit to memory: 68, 95, 99.9. I don't know what you need to do, but you have got to get that committed to memory. 68% is plus or minus one standard deviation. 95% is plus or minus two standard deviations. And then we have the 99.7, which is plus or minus three standard deviations. Again, this is just, it's something you have to know. You have to learn it. Like if somebody has a fun memory device, great, but you just have to know that. All right. So a question. All right. So a student's test is 85 with a mean score of 75 and a standard deviation of 5. How many standard deviations above the mean was the student's score? Okay, so basically I have two little boxes here. And what I am going to do is I'm going to do this stuff on the actual bell curve, and then I'm going to do the quick and dirty method. Big shout out to Jazz. She's the one who kind of came up with that. One of the facilitators, she just recently passed. Whoop, whoop. I'm definitely going to use her method on the NCE instead of drawing out the whole bell curve. But I want to do both so that you understand what I'm doing on the right hand side. Okay, so there is a mean of 75. So here is the mean, right where the 0 is. So we are starting out with 75. Okay. So there is a standard deviation of 5. So what that is telling me is that I'm going to increase by 5 when I go to the right here, and I'm going to decrease by 5 when I go to the left of the mean. Okay. I don't know where the rest of my number went. We'll just 5 there. You guys get it. The zero is supposed to be 75. Anywho, so we're about to go up by 5. So the next one would be 80. We're increasing by 5 because we're going, oops, not 85, 80. So we're going up by 5. So number one would be 80. 5 more from that is 85. So that's where your second standard deviation lies. And then we have the last one being 90. I don't know why that is not showing up. It's funky, but you guys get it. So difficult when we're drawing these things on here. Okay, so we have the mean here, which is 75. Zero is the mean. Then we go up by 5. The first standard deviation is 80. The second standard deviation is 85. The third standard deviation is 90. Now we're about to do the same thing in reverse because we're behind the mean, right? So this is going to be 70 because 75 minus 5 is 70. And then we're going to go here at 65. All right, y'all. What's the last one? I feel it in my spirit that you guys are yelling 60. Okay, so we have the bar set here. We have a mean of 75, the first standard deviation of 80 to 70, the second standard deviation of 85 to 65, and the third standard deviation of 90 to 60. So just to kind of drive that point home, let me get a Sharpie out here. Okay. And okay, so this, and don't be making fun of my drawing either. This is one standard deviation. And then everything from here, oops, is two standard deviations. And last but not least, everything from here is three standard deviations. Um, so in terms of that empirical rule I was shouting out, this first one would be the 68%. The second one is the 95%. And this last one is the 99.7%. So again, um, if the question, well, let's focus on what the question is asking. A student scored within the student's test score is 85, with a mean of 75 and a standard deviation of 5. How many standard deviations above the mean is the student's score? Well, the student score is 85. 85. How many standard deviations is that? Well, a couple things. It says 2 right here. So it is 2 standard deviations above the mean. So what it's asking for, like percentage wise, what was done, it would correlate with that 95%. Um, And let's see here. So yeah, so the 95% is always equivalent to the no, 95 is always equivalent to two standard deviations plus or minus. 68% is always equivalent to one standard deviation plus or minus. And then the 99.7 is always equivalent to three standard deviations plus or minus. Now, the quick and dirty method that I was referring to, this is what I fully plan on doing on the test. All right, so we have a mean of 75. Of course, I would write this, but this is what's going on. So a mean of 75, and I'm going up by 5 standard deviations, so 80, and then 85, and then 90. Cool. Okay, so on the opposite side of the mean, we have 70, and we have 65, and then we have 60. Like once you actually understand this is just so much easier. Okay, so we do have this mean. So we do have the mean right here. So this is our mean right here. Okay. So um I'm gonna thicken this up just for the sake of it being obvious. Okay, so we have one standard deviation here. Actually, I'm gonna keep the same one, the same colors that I had over here. So I have blue for the first one standard deviation, and then I did green for the next one, two standard deviations, and red for the last one, plus or minus three standard deviations. So it's the same thing. So I have a mean score of 75, and then I figured out, all the plot lines for the standard deviations. And then I went to the question and I started at the 75, boom. And then they said I had a test score of 85. So 1, 2. Okay, so that answer is um plus two standard deviations. Just throwing out a monkey wrench here. If it was to say that they had scored a 60, it's below the mean. So it would be -3 standard deviations. Um, for laughs and giggles, if they were to score a 70, it would be a -1 standard deviation. And then from here, just to circle back to that empirical rule, for standard deviation, 68%. Oh, that's not a great color, but you get where I'm going. Second standard deviation, 95%. And then the third standard deviation is, I hear you guys saying 99.7%. If not, just hit rewind. It's okay. But I just feel like once you actually get this, you get it. So yeah, this is basically a quick and dirty bell curve. This is what I fully intend on doing whenever I take the NCE. It's easy. I don't have to worry about a big old hoopty doop, but it's giving me the exact same information. Um, I'm going to trash this, and we're going to go to another question. All right, so I'm not going to go quite as detailed because I kind of gave what the ones and twos are on the previous question, but I do just want to walk through this one real quick just to bring the point home. In a class, the average height is 170 centimeters with a standard deviation of 10. If a student is 180 centimeters tall, how many standard deviations above the mean is this? Okay, well, let's find out. a coffee head now, by the way. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with mean. What did they say the mean was? The average height is 170. 170. All right, so we have a standard deviation of 10. So what does that mean? It means we're gonna go up by 10 and down by 10. That's what that means for our purposes. This stuff gets a lot more complicated if you're actually into the research. But for the purpose of the NCE, that's all it means for us. All right, so up by 10, 180. All right, so what would this one be? Feel it in my spirit. You're saying 190. Great job. All right, and then this last one here, again, up by 10. So we got 200. Okay, so from here, this is below the mean. So what are we going to do? What is the difference? We're subtracting because we're going below the mean. All right, so we have 170. So 170 minus 10 is 160. 10 more from that. So the next set of standard deviations, that is 150. Okay. And then last but not least, 140. Okay, so now we're all set to answer this question. We figured out the actual numerical part. Now let's dig into this question. We have an average height of 170, and then we have standard deviations of 10. We're trying to figure out 180. So let's just go ahead and figure out where our standard deviations lie. Um, well, I already have red up, so we'll start there. So this is plus or minus 3 standard deviations here. This is plus or minus 2 standard deviations here. And then this last one is plus or minus 3 standard deviations here. The empirical rule of 68, 95, 99.9. Where are we putting this stuff? I don't want it to be blue. We learned our lesson there. So let's go purple. All right, so the third one, what is that going to be? The 99.7. Oh, that wasn't any better. But again, you guys hear what I'm saying, right? All right, so let's switch it up. What is this one? First set of standard deviation, so therefore it is 68%. Percent. Yeah, that was an awful choice, but that's okay. We're getting through it. And then the last one is the 95%, plus or minus 2 standard deviations. Okay, so we got the 68%, 95%, 99.7%. All right, let's tackle this question and get an answer. 170 is the average height. It is the mean. We have a standard deviation of 10. We figured exactly all of that out. And then if a student is 180 centimeters tall, How many standard deviations above the mean is this? All right, we are 180. We have the mean right here. Oh, hold on, pen. Okay, there we go. We have the mean right here. So if a student is 180 centimeters tall, how many standard deviations above the mean is this? We've got the 180 being right here. That falls within one standard deviation because it's after the mean to the right. That is plus one standard deviation. If we were to circle that on the opposite side and say 160, it would be -1 standard deviation. If it was 140, -3 standard deviation. So, um, yeah, that's about it. And I'm about to hit that with the quick and dirty method. But that's it as far as figuring out these numbers and whatnot. For our purposes. Again, it does go way deeper than this, but for our purposes, this is about it. This is about the extent of it. All right, so we will start off with the mean, which is 170. And then it goes up 10, 180. Then it goes up 10, 190. And then it goes up 10, 200. Boom. All right, we're going below the mean now. So we are going to go with the 160. And then we are going with the 150. Boom, boom. And then we are ending with 140. All right. As soon as I get this in a line, we'll be ready to rock and roll. All right. Boom. So we have our numbers ready to go. All right. So the first thing I am going to do, well, this is the first thing I did was figure out the numbers. Now, the next thing that I am going to do is start plotting my stuff. All right. So boom, right here. So boom, right here. First standard deviation. The next one I did in green. Boom, two standard deviations, plus or minus. Last one is red I used, okay? So that this is gonna be three standard deviations. If we throw in our um, empirical rule percentages, this one would be 68%. Finally, one that actually makes sense. The next one would be the 95%. 95%. And then the last one would be the 99.7%. And notice that's not on the page anymore. Again, that is just something you have got to commit to memory. So going with this question. All right, so the average is 170, standard deviation of 10, and we have a student that fell at the 180. 180. That falls with the standard deviation. I do want to just throw the mean on. Ooh, that was awful. You guys get where I'm going with this. All right, so it is one standard deviation above mean. So the answer is one standard deviation above the mean. Yeah, I'm realizing that I reversed these questions. That's where I just was like, oh, I think I did it in reverse. But for those of you guys who are mathematically inclined, I am not. I absolutely will not use this on the NCE. This is not my bag. It's just not. But you can mathematically figure this out by taking the the value, the score that you're given, minusing the mean, and then dividing it by the standard deviation. So for the one that we just did, again, I reversed them. This is actually the first one we did. This is actually the second one. My bad, y'all. But it is 180 minus 170 divided by 10. So that would be 10 on top, 10 divided by 10. That gives you one standard deviation. In order to find the z-score for the very, very first question that we did, we had a score of 85, a mean of 75, and then we went up by 5. And so we came up with 10 on top, 10 divided by 5, that is 2. It was 2 standard deviation. So if you are good at math and math speaks to your heart, there you go. Not me. Not me at all. All right. And this one is for y'all. I'm not about to go through it. I believe you guys have it. Do what we've been doing. If you get stuck, rewind this video, but I have faith in you. All right, so yeah, that's about it. This is all of the stuff I have for the bell curve. Just hopping it out, but I also want to touch upon the things that are coming up for y'all. So we do have a counseling and helping relations class with Aisha Query that's happening on December 14th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The cost for that class is $23. She is a professional NCE prep coach. This is a formal class, not like the study sessions that we do. In order to reserve your spot, just go ahead and go to the events tab, and it has further information. Well, honestly, you could really search her name in the group and you'd find it too, but search the events and you will find the actual formal, invite with all of the information. And then we have the ugly sweater Christmas party. So that is on the 18th from 7:30 until the party ends. No, but it starts at 7:30. So whoever has the best or worst ugly sweater will win a special prize. But I'm just saying, good luck beating me. Hey. But no, that's it, y'all. Y'all stuck with me this long, so thanks for listening to me ramble on about the bell curve. But yeah, if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Sonata, or Tessa, the other admin of the group. But yeah, thank you. Bye.